Revelation Unraveled, Part 12. The Great Apostasy Continued. W3. Hail, Fire, and Blood. And the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound the trumpet. And the first angel sounded the trumpet, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and it was cast on the earth. And the 3rd part of the earth was burned up, and the 3rd part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. These verses from chapter 8, verses 6 through 7, deal with the apostasy, and should be moved following the 5th seal. They do not chronologically follow the 7th seal as in the original text. What is this strange trinity of hail, blood, and fire? From our study of trinities, we recognize this as a structural trinity of solid, liquid, and gas. Because this particular heresy exhibits all 3 parts of a trinity, that means it is complete and affects the entire society. By placing this event in its correct apostasy sequence, according to the ROC chart, St. John's cryptogram, we know the symbols must describe a spiritual rather than an actual physical chastisement. Just as war is a physical chastisement, apostasy is a spiritual chastisement. Although there are some physical consequences, don't look up at the sky and expect to ever see real balls of fire, blood, and hail mixed together. Instead, this particular apostasy points to King Henry VIII, who made himself Pope of England. When the hail destroys 1/3 of the earth and 1/3 of the trees, the reference is to King Henry destroying 1/3 of the Catholic churches, monasteries, and other beautiful buildings, as well as the social welfare organizations which they housed. The blood refers to martyrs, such as St. Thomas More, St. Margaret Clitheroe, and the priests and nuns killed by King Henry. The fire represents the worst plague, because nearly the entire English nation, all the green grass, lost their Catholic faith. Henry VIII's most dubious distinction is that he murdered 2 of his 6 wives. Since the Pope wouldn't grant him a divorce, he invented divorce English style. Not that the popes of this era were paragons of virtue either. Be forewarned. When we stand before the judgment seat of God, no religion or denomination will stand with us. We answer for our own, not others' crimes or merits. An end times anti-pope who proclaims that taking the mark of the beast is no big deal will only succeed in dragging down others with him to hell. Hopefully, by this time, the last great pope of the Catholic Church, Pope Peter II, Petrus Romanus, will forcefully counter every satanic fallacy of the false prophet and the man of sin, the Antichrist. W4. Stinging locusts, 8:13. And I beheld, and heard the voice of one eagle, flying through the midst of heaven, crying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the rest of the voices of the 3 angels, who are yet to sound the trumpet. 9:1. And the 5th angel sounded the trumpet, and I saw a star fall from heaven upon the earth, and there was given to him the key of the bottomless pit. 9:2. And he opened the bottomless pit, and the smoke of the pit arose, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened with the smoke of the pit. 9:3. And from the smoke of the pit there came out locusts upon the earth, and power was given to them, as the scorpions of the earth have power. The above verses from chapter 9 continue the furor, confusion, and unhappiness of apostasy. In this case, another view of the Protestant Reformation. The star that falls is Martin Luther, and the locusts are his heretical followers. According to canon law, Luther's fall from faith was abandonment of his monastic vows. From our rearrangement, we know that the locusts cannot be, for example, helicopters, as some have suggested. And when the sun is darkened, it is not the real sun, but the light of the Catholic faith. These heresies ultimately lead to our current suicidal culture of death. They shall desire to die. Just as Henry VIII is a prefigure of the Antichrist, that is, a temporal leader who assumes religious authority, Martin Luther is a prefigure of the false prophet, meaning a religious leader who apostatizes from the Catholic faith. The reign of the Antichrist and his false prophet is a culmination of the great apostasy, the great falling away from Catholicism. It's not surprising that these two reformers are described side by side, W3 and W4, in the ROC chart, St. John's cryptogram. For an excellent description of this section, W4, detail by detail, read Herman Bernard Kramer's book, The Book of Destiny. 9:4. And it was commanded of them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing or any tree, but only the men who have not the sign of God on their foreheads. 9:5. And it was given unto them that they should not kill them, but they should torment them 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. And in those days men shall seek death, and shall not find it. And they shall desire to die, and death shall fly from them. 9:7. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. 9:8. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as lions. 9:9. And they had breastplates as breastplates of iron, and the noise of their wings was as the noise of chariots, and many horses running to battle. 9:10. And they had tails like to scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had over them a king, the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek Apollyon, and in Latin Exterminans. 9:12. One woe is past, and behold, there come yet 2 woes more hereafter. As in the previous section, W3, the green grass and trees represent lay people and clergy whose faith is hurt by the spread of Lutheranism. Not all the green grass is destroyed by Luther, because unlike England, about 1/2 of the German people retained their Catholic faith. However, those without crosses on their foreheads no longer will be able to profess the Apostles' Creed. I believe in one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Jesus was concerned about future fractured Christianity when he prayed for this last generation that they all may be one. The good news is that Protestant heresy is short-lived, 5 months. The bad news is that each month lasts 1 century. But since Luther posted his 95 Theses in 1517, those 5 centuries are almost finished. The Great Apostasy leads in the near future to World War III, followed by the Great Tribulation, and the New World Disorder, which is finally crushed through divine chastisement. St. John's use of number repetition for emphasis will be apparent throughout Revelation. 5 months is stated twice, so as to alert the reader to its significance as a symbol for a longer time frame, 5 centuries. The angel of the bottomless pit, Satan, is given 3 names, Abaddon, Apollyon, and Exterminans, to emphasize the threefold spiritual power of the devil in imitating the divine Trinity. The locusts exhibit 10 traits, which could represent perversions of the 10 Commandments. The hair like women suggests adultery. The imitation, as it were, crowns of gold indicate the usurpation of legitimate authority. The 10 evil traits may also prefigure the 10 evil world leaders who back the Antichrist. Of the 3 woes in Revelation, this is the shortest in terms of the number of words, but the longest, 500 years, in terms of calendar time. The ROC chart, St. John's cryptogram, provides far more accurate chronology than the original organization. However, the new corrected time frame still should be regarded as only approximate.